Hello, hello, hello. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Caitlin.
And this is Please and Take It With You, a show where we talk about movies we love and why. This week we will be talking about the 1992 animated film,
Fern Gully.
The Last Rainforest. Ba, 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 ba. I love this one.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
So good. So good to revisit.
I was rewatching it and I realized I don't think I've watched it since I was very, very little.
It's so funny. This was one of my annual ones. This was one that I watched a lot. I think, but even then, I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 years since I've sat down.
Yeah, so I kind of got to watch it with like fresh eyes, like as an adult, because I think I maybe saw it when I was under the age of 10. So like it's been a
Did
minute.
your school, I remember my school had a cardboard cutout, a like poster, some type of promotional
That seems
thing
familiar.
in the cafeteria or something. That was like, save the rainforest.
Yeah, I feel like they were the face of a lot of like kids eco initiatives.
Earth Week type thing.
For like a while through the 90s.
That makes a lot of sense. I was going to say, because I would have been in that school
After
I was born in 91,
Right.
so it wasn't premiering when I was in school. But yeah, so it must have been what was attached to Earth Day, which is so funny because we picked this for Earth Day, and then we just realized that it was released
like
for
12
Earth Day.
days before Earth Day,
I
the
love
year
that.
it was released. So yeah.
I love that. Its message is very clear, apparently.
Yeah.
So talk to us, tell us about the cast.
All right. Okay. So Fern Gully was directed by Bill Croyer. It's produced by Peter Feynman and Wayne Young, with a screenplay by Jim Cox. Music was composed by Alan Silvestri, and then there were songs written by Thomas Dolby as well. We have Samantha Mathis as Krista, Jonathan Ward as Zach, Tim Curry as Hexus, Christian Slater as Pips, the Robin Williams as I cannot talk today.
The Robin Williams.
The Robin Williams.
The Robin Williams.
The Robin Williams.
We will call him the Robin Williams from now on.
the Robin.
The Robin.
A new superhero.
This was Robin's first animated film that he voiced.
Yeah, like
that he did voiceover work for. But it was also the same year that he did
Aladdin,
which we'll talk more about later.
Right. So he voices Batty, Grace Zabriskie as the narrator and Magiloon, Jeffrey Blake as Ralph, Robert Pastorelli as Tony, Cheech Marin as Stump, and Tommy Chong as Root, and then Tone Loc as the goanna.
I love that. It really is a great cast. We were talking, though, the big names in the film were not...
They're kind of secondary and tertiary.
Yeah.
Like...
Except for Curry, who I guess is the villain. He is the
But
bad
even
guy.
this was his first full-length animated film as well. Yeah. He had not done any, like, animated voice work, really, like a fully animated film.
I guess that makes sense.
At that point,
think of what he would have been in before that, but
yeah, he really hadn't done anything. But I mean, he was a big enough name at the time. You've got Christian Slater, who was a pretty big name,
and I think Samantha Mathis had just done. No, I don't know if she had done American Psycho yet, because I know she was in that, but I don't remember if that was before or after. But she had. It looks like on her resume she had done a lot of TV stuff,
right?
So maybe she was around.
Right. Well, and at the time, Robin Williams would have been, pretty big in his comedy career at that time.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Producer Wayne Young said his wife had written this story. Diana Young wrote this story, and she was like inspired by... They're Australian, and they were inspired by the, deforestation of the rainforest in Australia, and wanted the story to, cover those elements. And she is so sweet in the interview, like watching her. She just seems like the same font as Princess Diana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like classy.
Yeah, just like classy and kind of soft spoken, but so smart. And I love the way she was talking about the book. And the idea was that they would release the book and the movie together to be,
companions.
A nice little double promotion. And I think that the movie turned out so well, but it was competing with Disney at that time.
Well, I mean, we were right in it because the early 90s and even throughout into the later 90s was a huge Disney
So many films.
renaissance at that point, because we had some stuff in 88 and 89 with The Little Mermaid, and then they kind of took a minute and then hit it hard for the next decade. They did delay the release of Fern Gully so as not to compete with Beauty and the Beast and also American Tail, Five Will Goes West.
Which was really smart for them because those were big.
Yeah,
big
because it was actually supposed to be released in November of 91, and that was in the same time frame as those two movies, and they're like, you know what, we'll wait.
We're going to give it a minute.
So
but I think it was smart for them to release it on Earth Day or Earth Week. That makes a lot of sense for them. But I think now it's easier for non-Disney and Pixar things to catch some following and stuff and some interest. But back then, I mean, it was
much harder. He just didn't have
I feel
the
like
marketing platform.
Yeah, I feel like children's animation wasn't the market that it was, that it is now.
Yeah.
It was much smaller back then, because they felt like kids' movies didn't make a bunch of money, but Disney quickly changed that.
Right. They changed it and figured out a formula that appealed to kids and adults. And so I think this movie definitely does. Like, this has a very adult message to it, but it's palatable enough for kids to understand it.
Yes.
And it's also not preachy, which I think is a big plus for it, is that it doesn't get too overbearing.
I think if it had been made now, it could maybe be a little bit more preachy and get away with it. But I do understand.
At the time period, it could not have gotten away with it.
And they were like, we still want people to watch it for entertainment value. We don't just want it to be like, humans, you're the worst. But they kind of are in the movie, and we kind of are.
And you know what? It's funny because the humans aren't even painted as the villain of the movie. They're just kind of idiots.
Yeah.
Which,
so dumb. The two guys in the truck, hilarious dynamic. I love that duo, but they really are just
idiots.
Stupid idiots.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh gosh. And even Zach in the beginning, he's like listening to music. He's working. He's feeling cool, spray painting trees and stuff for the logging people. But then
just consistently doesn't get it because he knows enough to know that what he's doing is wrong and he shouldn't tell Krista exactly what he was doing in the forest. So he lies to her the whole movie, but he still doesn't get it. He's over here carving her name into a tree, and she's horrified.
Stop.
Please stop. And she's like, can you not feel its pain? And he's like, what are you talking about? Doesn't get it. So they're just kind of painted as idiots who don't get it.
But he is, the representation of all of humankind. And we just sort of overlook things. You're not thinking about,
you turn a blind eye.
What pollution and economic drive can do to Earth itself,
Yeah.
But it's done so well in the
movie.
They
do it really well, and they do it in a really lovely way that I do think gets the point across. I know it was criticized a little bit about, because they do save the forest at the end of the movie, which has been criticized that it kind of defeats the message.
Right. It's not like a call to action.
On one hand, I do understand, but I guess I kind of look at it as they won the battle, not the war. This was one forest. There's hundreds in this world, and this was one day, and even Zach says something like that. He's like, but we can.
We can.
She's like, well, you saved the forest or whatever. We saved it from or what's his name?
Hexus.
Toxus.
Toxus.
We saved it from Hexus. And he's like, but the humans can still destroy it, so I have to go.
But it is sort of the ideal world because the whole scenario is that he is us. She is nature teaching us, if we take the time to learn about nature and the earth and listen to it, then we can work together to make it a better, safer, longer lasting place. And I get, I
understand
think I get
the
that.
criticism.
If we work with nature, we would win. you know, there's always going to be a battle, and you know, we've been here a long time, done a lot of damage. Because I think in Australia, I read like 27% of their rainforests have been lost. So the story was written loosely in Australia. They don't outright say it, but
No, but like his work license or whatever, he has in Australia.
yeah.
That's really the only tie to it.
And then they have like kangaroos and some like vegetation that is native to Australia. That mountain.
Not Mountain Doom. My brain is like Mount Doom.
Mount Doom. The Temple of Doom.
Not Mount Doom. But like that mountain is an actual mountain in Australia. You know, so
it's like about Australia, but it is a worldwide message.
You know, and I kind of thought, like when I was watching it, and I thought, oh, it's set in Australia. Like I would have liked at least one Australian.
I know, not one
character,
accent.
not one single accent. And I said, you know what though, I'm actually okay with that, because then it doesn't place it somewhere else.
That's true. It's not giving it too much context so that it is a more
and I'm sure they probably didn't think about it that hard. But I kind of rationalized it for myself of like
that.
The rainforest is everywhere. It's not just the rainforest. It's, you know, the trees, the redwoods in California. It's wherever. It, you know,
national forests.
Gotta
Don't
take care of
drill
them.
there. Stop.
Please
doing
stop.
that.
Gotta take care of them.
Let it breathe. So I love this. I also loved, one of my notable moments is that opening monologue that Maggie gives to Krista, who of course isn't listening.
Oh, she's like daydreaming.
She's like, yeah, wanna get out in the rainforest.
And like tunes her out twice. She's like, hey Krista, are you listening? And she's like, what? And she's like, anyway, as I was saying, Krista,
yeah, yes.
like
yes.
immediately is distracted.
I'm like, oh. And Maggie, you know, represents the wise, the all-knowing, the like mother nature, and she does such a great that actress, Grace
Zabriskie.
Oh my gosh, I love her voice.
Her voice is so soothing.
It's
like I
so
want her to read
soothing.
me a bedtime story.
Tell me, I would listen to any audiobook she ever
absolutely.
released. Her voice is so amazing. And so that opening is so magical and amazing, and even Krista, who's not listening, understands and has this love for the life that she's in. You know, the director mentions like she is the princess of the rainforest. You know, she's living this charmed life that she doesn't remember the humans. She doesn't remember the bad stuff.
Right. Well, and as much as you see from the beginning that she's kind of like off in her own la la land, like Little Mermaid wants to go up to the surface, see, you know, the big, bright, beautiful world. You're like, she really is kind of like, I want to see more.
Yes.
But then we get comments from Pips in like just a few scenes later where you find out that she's choosing to spend all of this time with Maggie. Like she's hanging out with Maggie of her own free will. Like she is not being forced.
It's like, I'm going to learn about this.
Right. And so it's just funny because like even when she's like clearly not paying attention, she's there by choice. Like she's learning to take up this,
to learn her
this
magic,
role.
to learn how to grow things. That's true. That's true. She does her own learning as well, her own character arc, which I think is valuable for people who it's like, of course people want Earth to do well. Right. You know, of course people care, but maybe not recognizing all of the things that we could be doing to make
I think
it better.
it's so much of it is her having to learn that not everybody cares about the earth the same way that she does.
Yes.
And understanding that is just never going to be the case.
Yeah.
And if she can make them care even just this much more, like she makes Zach, like I'm sure Zach isn't going to go just, you know, be a druid in, you know, the city. But, you know, like he does have more of a thought about, you know, like, oh, I can't just like mess around.
Right. Like I just have this
throw
job
my trash in the
logging
street.
trees. Yeah. It's like everyone leaves a little bit more mindful. The soundtrack is
so good.
So beautiful. I am really obsessed with it.
I'm so glad I got to listen to it with fresh ears this time around, because listening to it, I was like, okay, these are, first of all, all bops.
Oh yeah.
Like I remembered. Hi, hello,
My cat
sir.
Fender. Hey, bub.
I remembered the baddie rap, obviously, like it's iconic. But like past that, I don't think and I remembered Hexus's song, but like I couldn't have sung it for you. I just knew that he had one.
It's not very singable. You know, I guess if you really sat down and learned it,
I couldn't tell you any of the words.
No, it's more of an ambiance than it is.
Yeah, could not tell you.
the
Like it's
number.
not the villain song that you're bopping along in your car to. But the rest of it is solid. Like
so good.
we come out of that like narration at the beginning into that the Life is Great
It's like 90s.
song,
Like,
but like sort of Caribbean.
yeah.
It's good.
It's got some nature tones to it. Yeah.
I don't remember what that song was called, but it was like Life is Beautiful, or
I don't
if
know.
I'm not doing it justice, it has a better title.
It really is so good though. And then I do Robin Williams. So he obviously did the baddie rap. That was him doing it.
Which
clearly.
they actually animated that digitally.
Yes.
It was the like only
No
thing that
cell
was not
animation.
cell animated, which in 91, which is when this would have been animated, is impressive.
So cool. What they did with that was really fun. I remember as a kid having a lot of fun watching that number. But even all of his dialogue, he has so many amazing one-liners and just these random standalone things.
So quotable.
So quotable. And I for years I've always said, "Hi, Helen." You know,
Hi, Helen.
And then I read like he had done 14 hours of improv for them. 14 hours of just improvised
Just like voice
material,
work.
just for them to shuffle through, kind of cherry pick what they wanted.
And so then like the
I
director
want those
loves
tapes.
it so much that this was supposed to be an 8-minute role. 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
They said, just
and they
take
said,
your time.
So this is called baddie now.
Yes.
And I'm like, I mean, of course, like we've seen his body of work at this point. We're all very familiar with how brilliant he was. And so it's no wonder that, 14 hours.
they said,
though.
yeah, we might need to give him some more. Just give him a few more scenes.
Yeah, the sound tech's
can
just
make it
like
work.
sitting there and he's like, I think we're going to have to extend this role.
How can we do an hour and a half? The movie was only supposed to be 60 minutes. They added
The
30
extra
for Robin.
16. The extra 16 minutes in that
16 minutes, yes.
runtime are him. They doubled it.
He said, for Robin, we'll do it.
But it's so good.
And his character is a nod to the
Animal testing.
Yeah, experimentation and stuff. And so that's a nice sewn in little detail.
Right. Like a little extra detail that easily could have been left out. Because, I mean, we're like, save the forest, but also the animals.
But also the animals, maybe.
Maybe don't test on them. They don't deserve it. They don't.
But he does it so brilliantly. And as I was rewatching it, because, he's like insane, crazy. And he has
He's
like
batty.
a radio attached to his head. And he's sort of like, it really is like flipping through channels quite literally sometimes with his character. But the things that he says are some of the most deep truths and intelligent banter to what Maggie is presenting, just in a funny,
Sort of like
misunderstood
sort of kooky
manner.
way.
Right. They're like, they think he's crazy, but if you're really listening to what he's saying,
He knows what he's
true.
saying.
It's true. It's right.
Well, and the fact that he begins this whole movie terrified of humans, rightly so. Yes. Very fair. But he and doesn't like Zach, like is actively trying to feed him to animals. At every turn, he's like, humans are delicious. Eat him. I won't tell, like
take him now. Yeah.
actively trying to feed Zach to larger animals. And then by the end of it, he's like, you're a good one. And it's so nice.
sweet.
Like he kind of has that moment too, where he's like, okay, so they're not all bad, but we do need to educate them because they dumb.
They're a little dumb.
They need a gentle push.
So I thought his character was so well done, very brilliant, and so entertaining to watch. But so then you have Robin Williams, who I think is a star. And granted, at the time he was doing a ton of comedy, but this was his first animated film, so we didn't have the genie yet to compare that to. So I guess this was maybe his introduction to children.
Right. So we really hadn't seen the sort of like wholesome comedy.
Right. Right.
We'd seen his other comedy, and I mean, even like Mrs. Doubtfire has like an extended cut that's like not made for children. You know,
watch this with your husband and wife.
The late night showing of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh my God, could you imagine? I would love to see Robin Williams having done stand up as Mrs. Doubtfire. That would be.
And Sally Field just like in the background looking appalled at everything.
Just
she has that reaction
face,
like
she does.
so well.
She does mortified so well.
Like nobody else.
The whole time. But so we have Robin Williams, who was, getting ready to explode to having like a family fan base, and then Tim Curry. This was also his first animated like feature, and then he goes on to do a ton of like animated work as well. I mean, because we've seen him. He was in the Rugrats and the Wild Thornberrys. Was he?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I didn't. Oh gosh, and I didn't write that character down. But Rex.
Sure.
He's in that. But he's Nigel in the Wild Thornberries.
Oh my gosh. How did I not know that?
Yeah, so he's Nigel. So he did the Wild Thornberries. He was in the Rugrats movie and Rugrats Go Wild.
That makes so much sense.
And,
I didn't really watch that.
And I mean, like, I know him from The Pebble and the Penguin. He voices Bad Penguin, Drake. And then he's also Forte in Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that one. I just remember the
He's like
red
the big organ. He's like the organ that's like chained to the wall.
No, it's been too long.
Okay, it's a quick watch. We can watch it.
We'll go back. We'll circle back. We'll circle back to that.
Circle back. It's a good one. Yeah.
But I love that he did this, and it was so well done and very subtle for him.
Yeah.
Hexus is. I think that's what I liked about his song and his dialogue in general is because he is oil and is
pollution,
symbolic of pollution and destruction, and everything.
Fumes.
Yeah. The way he does his lines.
Well, he even contorts his voice depending on what form he takes. Because like when we first start hearing him, he's kind of snaky and it's very high. And it's not your normal Tim Curry voice. Right. Like you can hear it if you know it's him, but I think if you like sat someone down who didn't know, they probably wouldn't recognize that it was Tim Curry until he kind of like settles in to his like full-bodied voice
form.
Yeah, because honestly, it wasn't until he starts speaking through the radio to the two worker guys that I was like, there he is.
Hi,
there's
Timmy.
Tim Curry, and he's got that deep, like, yeah, he has that deeper, like, identifiable
the Curry register.
Yes, but before that, it was kind of like high and nasally, which you don't really hear.
Yeah, he's very.
And I just love
Brilliant.
That he kind of like
he did not have to go that hard for this movie, but he gave us a gift.
He did.
He gave us a gift. I really love that. They spent, so most of this film's $24 million budget was spent on animation and the soundtrack, which I think is very evident.
Alan Silvestri, he did a good, and then went on to do really cool things like Lilo and Stitch, and then most recently, at the beginning of March 2021, Raya and the Last Dragon.
It was so funny because when I was watching the movie, I was like, there's no way that whoever did this soundtrack hasn't done other things. And of course, of course he has. And he did well for himself. Like,
he did.
Really living his best
those
life.
are not the only two notable ones, but those are two that I was like, oh, wow.
Like he did the Polar Express, Beowulf, The Croods, The Scoob, the 2020 remake. So he's been working. Busy. Good for you, Alan. I'm happy for you. You really.
This was also Elton John did Some Other World in the credits. This was his first involvement in an animated feature.
Elton.
Yeah, and so then he goes on to do a ton of work with animated film music and soundtracks there.
I love that. God, it really does have so many big names. So one of the things that I guess is rumored, one of the producers made this claim, but I think Disney has chosen not to comment. But so Disney didn't want Robin Williams to do Fern Gully and Aladdin. So they were like, don't do Fern Gully because we want, you know, we want you for the genie. You know, you're doing this. I can get that. But Robin was like, no, I'm doing both. Like, you can't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. So he does both, but then allegedly Disney started to sort of sabotage their process, like renting out the studios that they had rented by offering them more money for those time slots. And like they ended up recording in some like abandoned club or something, some other like business or brewery. It was a brewery. They ended up recording in this abandoned brewery, and Disney tried to buy the brewery, and it was like,
please. Now joke's on them because they own 20th Century Fox.
I know. I was like, but then they ended up getting it anyway because they have Fox now. So, I mean, in the end they won, but we still got Robin. And I don't think that the film would have been the same without him.
No, I think we needed that tone. We did, because like neither Krista nor Zach are really funny enough to have like really floated the movie. We needed those little one-liners.
I feel like the wisdom in the movie, the beautiful language of the movie is a highlight, and the tertiary characters like they're not tertiary, but Hexus and Batty. Those are like the quintessential like best writing features in it, and I think otherwise it's like a decent script but pretty basic.
Sure.
You know, not like overly clever humor. It's more like gentle and educational and atmospheric.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like when I was watching it, this is kind of a sidebar. I feel like when I was watching it, I'm like looking at the way they animated Zach, and I was like, you know, he is literally like if Cody from the Rescuers Down Under grew up and forgot everything
was hit on the head, like, has amnesia,
forgot about how much he cared about wildlife and the forest. It's also set in Australia.
Wow,
so like
so
I was like, this literally looks like if Cody grew up and forgot how to care about the world.
Yep. You're so right. I did not even realize
because they're animated largely exactly the same.
It's true.
And I mean, they're set in the same time period, so I'm sure that had more to do with the fact that was just the style. Because they had that sort of like...
Does Australia have a lot of blonde people?
I don't know.
I've never been.
I've never been
there.
No, because it had that sort of like late 80s, early 90s... Not a mullet, but it's close. Sort of shaggy hair.
A mullet.
So we're getting close to the mullet, and it's just like the general like. He had those big round like Kristoff eyes, like very lovable features.
Very teenage Kristoff.
Very lovable features, and I was like, "You look like the little boy from
like sweet,
Rescuers.
Sweet but dumb. You know, he looks so sweet,
little himbo,
a little stupid. It's okay. It's okay.
It's cute.
That's fine.
And then
I did think that one of the old fairy guys looks like the Sultan from Aladdin. And so it's funny that
Preston and I looked it up because we were like, I swear.
Yes.
He sounds like him and he's animated to look exactly like him. It's not him.
Man.
Yeah, they didn't share the credit.
That would have been impossible because Fern Gully and Aladdin were being made
at the same time.
So there's no way
there was a spy.
Who was the mole? Who was it? Because it is uncanny.
It really is. Like, and you know, for those of you watching it, if you've watched Aladdin, you'll know which character we're talking about. But like, he plays the father of Krista in Fern Gully. He's just this little
fairy dude.
And I swear, because it was enough that we were like, okay, look it up.
Because he's got like the white facial hair. They're
the
both
same
like
shape.
little round circles.
But he also has that cute little Santa Claus voice.
Yeah, like baby man-child Santa Claus. Adorable Santa Claus.
But yeah, no, it's not the same guy.
That's what a crazy coincidence. But I love that. That was a cute
Also, we had rapper Tone Loc in as the Goanna, which, you know what? He did not have to give us that gem, but he went all in.
It's so good. What I love is that you start out, when he first starts talking, you're like, Harvey Fierstein? But then when he keeps going, you're like, he sounds way too cool. Like, cool to be Harvey Fierstein.
He's kind of like a cross between Harvey Fierstein and Jermaine from Flight of the Conchords, because I was getting like big, shiny from Moana vibes. Because he had that like sort of smooth, like,
it's like
slick,
spoken word, low, slow rap quality.
And he's just talking about how he's like, I'm going to eat you.
Like, no offense, but I will be eating you.
I will be eating you. You look delicious. And I'm going to eat you. But then Chris is like, you can't eat him. He's my friend. And he's like, are you serious? And she's like, he's my friend. And he's like, all right. Any friend of a fairy. And he's like, bleh, and like spits him out.
And then just like vibes off. Oh, I love that. Like, wasn't mad about it. Was just like, oh.
But we got a whole song about it.
My bad. I'm
sorry.
on my
Guess
way.
I'll go find someone else to eat.
This was brilliantly done.
Yeah.
Such a good song.
And a vibe.
Oh yeah. It's moody.
Yeah. He
For
was
sure.
vibing and I was into it. I was like, okay. I see you.
I see you. I feel you.
That goanna was vibing.
Really was. I think this was a good one for me. I think it's fun to watch with your kids, watch with your family. Very
It's an hour and 16-minute runtime. It's a quick one.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining. Like, I liked it a lot.
So Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. Do something nice for the earth.
Plant a tree.
Instead of being so selfish. No, I'm just kidding.
But seriously.
But
go plant some flowers.
Do nice things for the earth.
Save the bees.
Recycle your bottles. All right. Thank you for joining us for Please and Take It With You.
We'll catch you next time.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.